Hey guys, today we will explain how to install a 2-air kit on your Selva S to convert it to a Selva R. You will need the following tools: medium Loctite, Formula lubricating grease found in the aftermarket box of your fork, the Formula FX suspension oil, also standard with your fork, a 10mm wrench, a small flat screwdriver, a 4mm hex wrench, a syringe to insert the oil. We will be using a syringe from the Formula Mineral Oil Bleed Kit, the Formula high-pressure suspension pump found in the aftermarket box of your Selva, and the tool for opening the fork cap, also included with your fork. You will also need a 2-air kit, which can be purchased from any Formula dealer. The kit includes the main rod with the piston and negative chamber, the negative chamber air valve, which also acts as the clamping screw for the rod on the lowers, the bronze air valve cap for the negative chamber, the silver air valve cap for the positive chamber, and two 10mm spacers with the included screws for adjusting the travel. To do this procedure, we advise you remove the fork from the bike and mount it horizontally on your workbench using a vise. The special Formula fork clamp is useful to mount the fork into the vise. If you do not have this tool, you can also use a normal bike stand. Once the fork is in position, proceed to closing the lockout. Now you can remove the rebound adjustment. Using a 4mm hex wrench, remove the screw at the base of the lowers on the damping side. Once this is done, you can also remove the screw at the base of the lowers on the air side. At this point, remove the fork from the vise. Place it in a vertical position above an oil collection tray, pull out the stanchion slightly and drain all the oil from inside the fork. At the end of this operation, you can put the fork back into the working position on the vise. Then, remove the through axle. Once you have put the fork back into working position, you can extract the lowers. We advise you to leave the lowers to drain in an oil collection tray, as residual oil may still come out. Now, remove the black cap that protects the positive air chamber valve. Then, connect the Formula pump and activate the quick connector. Once the pump is connected to the valve, remove the fork clamp and place it in a vertical position. Now, slowly remove all the air in the positive chamber. The vertical position prevents any rotation of one or more neoposts if present in the fork. For all the information on the neopost installation, follow the video link superimposed above now. Once complete, you can put the fork back on the vise in the working position and you can disconnect the pump from the positive chamber. Now you can proceed to remove the top cap on the air side using the tool found inside the aftermarket box of your fork. At this point, using a small flathead screwdriver, remove the retaining ring, which is located inside the stanchion at the base of the air side's lower. Then extract the rod with the negative spring and piston from its position. Now take the main rod of your 2-air kit and apply a small amount of Formula suspension grease to the O-rings as shown in the video. To ensure optimal smoothness, we recommend that you clean the inside of the dust seals using a dry paper towel. Then you can apply a light amount of Formula suspension grease to the inside of the dust seals. Now you can proceed by reinserting the 2-air kit rod into the stanchion on the air side. At this stage, we remind that the presence of the rod spacers and their number determines the travel of the fork, so make sure that the rod is properly configured to achieve the desired travel. To find out how to change the travel of your fork, click on the superimposed link appearing now, or go to the link at the bottom of the description of this video. After correctly inserting the 2-air kit rod, you can reinsert the retaining ring. Make sure that it is properly fit as shown in the video. At this point, fill a syringe with 2.5 cc's of Formula FX suspension oil and add the oil to the top of the air side. You can now apply the cap back onto the top of the air side using the special tool found in the aftermarket box. Apply a torque of 30 Newton meters. In this step, if you do not have a vise for working, but instead are working with the fork held by a bike stand, we advise you to have someone help you to keep the fork in place, making sure that it does not rotate around when applying the torque. Now connect the Formula suspension pump to the positive air chamber valve. Activate the quick connector and enter the desired air pressure. After this operation, you can disconnect the pump from the air valve. Then, attach the silver cap to protect the air valve. You will notice that at the base of the rods, both on the damping side and on the air side, there is a small flat machining. Orientate both rods by rotating them so that the flat spot coincides with the back of the fork. Before proceeding with the reintegration of the lowers, make sure that the stanchions are well cleaned. In this case, we recommend using a dry paper towel and a mild detergent. At this point, you can put your lowers back on the stanchions, but be sure not to push your lowers all the way down. This is fundamental for the insertion of oil at the base of the lowers. Now, fill a syringe with 15 cc's of Formula FX suspension oil, and through the port located at the base of the lowers on the air side, insert the oil into the fork. Once this is done, refill the syringe with another 15 cc's of Formula FX suspension oil, and this time, insert the oil into the port located at the base of the lowers on the damping side. Now, using the rebound adjustment, apply a slight amount of Formula suspension grease to the O-ring of the rebound screw. After this, apply a light amount of medium Loctite to the threads on the rebound screw. Now you can push the lowers all the way in, making sure that they are lined up to the internal rods. Once this is done, using a 4mm hex key, you can tighten the rebound screw on the damping side. Apply a torque of 7 Nm. Once this is done, unlock the fork by turning the gold lockout lever to the open position. Now make sure that the rod and the air side lower are correctly lined up. Again, apply a light amount of grease to the O-rings of the negative chamber valve. Once this is done, apply a light amount of medium Loctite to the valve threads. Now screw the valve into the base of the lowers on the air side using a 10mm wrench and apply a torque of 7 Nm. Proceed to closing the lockout by rotating the golden lever on the damping side. Now, with the help of the Formula suspension pump, insert the desired amount of air into the bronze negative chamber. Then, screw on the bronze cap to protect the negative chamber valve. At this point, you can disengage the fork lockout. Now, reinsert the rebound adjustment back into its position. To finish the work, apply the Selva R stickers supplied with the 2-air kit on the fork. This has been the complete procedure on transforming your Selva S into a Selva R. Obviously, the procedure can be completely reversed at any time and also applies to the transformation of a Selva R into a Selva S.